I'm Julianne and this is the Lovebird podcast. Thank you so much for taking some time to talk to me today about what I have been working on. Wow, okay, it has been 3 weeks now, I think, since I've podcasted properly. I had no end of issues trying to get that last podcast out. So I don't know why, but for some reason my editing software decided that it was going to zoom in on that last podcast, and so today I have gone back to my trusty old DSLR with no auto zoom, and I am working with that. I have also changed my background a little bit. You can't see a whole heap of it because of the way I've had to frame myself in the picture, but yeah, that is actually my sewing table right behind me. So you can see there's my sewing machine and my overlocker, and I've got a pile of yarn there with Bucky, my sheep. So yeah, I just thought I would try a different look. I've got my very festive candle going. I found that today. It is cinnamon bun scent, and cinnamon is always very festive-y to me. So yes, that is why I've got my cinnamon candle going. I've also fiddled around with the light and the camera setup and things like that, so hopefully I end up looking okay. It looks like this side of my face might be slightly in shadow, but hopefully it's all good and you can see me. I've got my ring light now to the side and it is holding my my phone that is now doing my voice recording, so I'm hoping that this will now kind of be it. It is trusty, it works. I will perhaps just end up with this. However, I do have a camera purchase on the way. I purchased a second-hand Canon PowerShot GX7, I believe it is, or is it a G7X, one of the two. It's the Mark II model, and I heard about this camera because it's actually the one that Vine uses for her vlogging, and I've been vlogging, as you probably have seen. I'm doing Vlogmas. I suffered from too much FOMO, so I decided that I was going to join in on Vlogmas, so you've probably seen those videos already, and I've mostly been vlogging on my phone, which is a bit hit and miss. It is very fun doing the time-lapse videos, which you have seen, the ones where I move really, really fast. And I mean, it works on the whole, but however, because that last podcast that I recorded was on my phone, it zoomed in, so I can't use my regular editing software. I've had to go back to using iMovie on my laptop to edit those Vlogmas videos, simply because the other editing software that I'm using on my husband's computer zooms in the iPhone footage for some reason. I don't know whether it's because the iPhone does record in 4K, so perhaps it's something to do with that. But whatever the reason is, I know that my EOS 600D is going to record properly and be able to be transferred to that computer. But yes, I bought this PowerShot. I got it quite a good deal on eBay, so yeah, I'm really excited for that to come through, and when it does arrive, which is possibly today, possibly tomorrow, possibly Monday, who knows, because it's Christmas time, yeah, I will hopefully be starting to use that for my vlogs and see how that goes. And it does have autofocus and apparently takes quite good full HD video recording, so I may end up using that for the podcast as well, but I'll have a play with it and see how it goes. And with my new setup as well, I can wear my glasses again, so I can see a little bit more clearly what's going on in my viewfinder, and you know, that'll help me do a better job for you guys. So with all of that out of the way, perhaps I will just quickly mention my shop. I have sent out a newsletter today. Well, I've scheduled it. It's probably not quite out yet. Just peering at the microwave around behind the camera to see the time. Although I do have a watch on, so you know, I could check that. But yes, I've popped out that newsletter because I will be doing no more shop updates for this year. I have made the decision for the interest of my mental health that I am calling it quits now for the year. I believe it's only, yesterday was 2 weeks exactly to Christmas, so today is Thursday the 12th, I believe. So yesterday was 2 weeks until Christmas. Simon will be having, who's my husband, which you probably know, will be having 3 weeks off, which is the first ever time that he has actually taken more than just public holidays and the space in between New Year's and Christmas. So he's looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to that. I want to be able to be, available to do whatever we want to do. If we want to go out, if we don't want to go out, if we want to just watch movies all day, I want to be available to spend that time with him. So I will not be doing a shop update until probably mid to late January. So there is still some Christmas stuff in the shop. I've got my mini skein sets, and I've got some stitch markers and a couple of errant skeins of self-striping left. So if you did want to grab some of that, head over to lovebirdlane.com. All right, I don't have a whole heap to talk about today. I only have been working really on 2 projects, and they are new projects since the last time I podcast. If you follow me on Instagram, I say this every episode, all of my follow information is down in the description. So if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have already seen these, but for those of you who only watch the podcast, I will show them to you now. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit hard to show you because it is rather big. It has got a very big, I'm working on the edge. It is the Smock Shawl by Stephen West, and it's probably going to be hard even to fit into the shot. And I think I'm getting a little bit of haze on this side. I might just pop my blind down. Bear with me. Okay, that's probably a little bit better, but I'm probably still more shaded on this side. I was worried because they looked like there was like a bloom of light from the window. So I just pulled the blind half down, so hopefully I'm not getting that bloom. I probably really should work on getting some curtains for that window, but that's a whole nother story. So this is the Smock Shawl by Stephen West. Have I got the right side? No. And in the tradition of Julianne doing podcasts, my battery just ran out on my camera, and I only have one of them, so I had to go and charge it, which is just fantastic because then I lose my roll, my lighting changes, my focus changes, everything gets ruined, but that's okay, we'll keep going. I was talking about my Smock shawl, and I have it here, and this has been knit out of some Wool and Vine yarns, and I have 3 colorways here. I started with I Am No Bird on the end, and then I gradually moved into Gashly Crumb, and then this end is Bronte. So yes, I've finished the body of the shawl. The body of the shawl is all done, and I have picked up my stitches for the border, that's the word, for the border, and that has started in Bronte. And it's a lot of 2x2 rib now, pretty much, to get that border done. It is, because it's called the Smock shawl, it does have little smocking stitches that I'm not up to yet. I'm still only doing the 2x2 rib to get the base of my border started. I believe somewhere along the line I'm going to then transfer back to my second colour, which was Gashly Crumb, which was that one in the middle here, to finish the shawl, and it will be bound off with an absolute ton of picot edging, so I'm looking real forward to that. So yes, that's my my Smock shawl. I started this when I was sick a couple of weeks ago, so I spent a lot of time working on it then because it was pretty much mindless. It was just very easy. It was just doing sort of garter. Well, it's not really garter, but it's like two rows of knit, 2 rows of purl, to get a sort of a garter ridge sort of fabric. Yes, so it is lovely and squishy. This is Wool and Vine's Nouveau base. So it's a singles yarn, and it is lovely and squishy, and this is a nice big shawl. I've realised that I do prefer at least 3 skein sized shawls. So this is nice and big, and yeah, it's going to be super, super nice, like for just even chilly nights in the season that we're in now, which is kind of very weird. We're getting warmer days, but the nights are still getting pretty cool, so, and very windy. It's been incredibly windy. So once this is finished, a shawl will definitely not go astray. The only other knitting that I have been working on is my Calan, My Cowl, which is also Wool and Varn related. This is her newest pattern. It is a cowl pattern. It's a bit hard to fit it all in the screen, but there we go. And it is a beaded cowl, and it is knit using some mohair silk held double with a fingering weight. So I am using my own colorway here. This is my plum pudding colorway. This is one of my Christmas ones. I actually have some just down there in that pile as well. It is my new obsession. And I'm hoping that it is picking up correctly on the camera, because on my iPhone, which is up there recording my sound, it actually comes out more of a reddy orange, when in actual fact, it's like a purpley brown. It's looking fairly accurate in my viewfinder, so I'm hoping that this is coming up, you know, as it should. I did a tutorial, if you have seen that. I did a tutorial earlier in the week on how to add these beads. It's actually a lot more simple than you would think. I've already had one comment on the video saying that she's going to try beading now because it's a lot easier than she had heard. And that's exactly why I wanted to make that video, because it really is super simple. And you could probably even add beads to projects that don't have it in the pattern, such as this. So the main reason that I really wanted to cast this on, besides the fact that it's pretty and it's got beads, is that it is a Court of Thorns and Roses inspired. It is inspired by Calan, which is the fire festival in the books, and it is also the location that the two, you kind of have three main characters. There's kind of a love triangle that goes on, and this is when Feyre meets Rhysand. But yes, this is based, inspired by the Calan festival. So yeah, I had to make this, and Kristin actually posted on Instagram yesterday that she's going to be having a Christmas in Valaris colorway this week in her update, which I am dying to get my hands on, because it is another Court of Thorns and Roses inspired colorway, and I'm really hoping that it's an update that I can actually get to. Her 10 a.m. updates I can't actually access unless I stay up until after midnight, which for me is very hard. I'm very much an early night girl. So it's usually better for me if I can get up early, because her 5 p.m. updates I think are around about 7:30 in the morning here, so that's far more easy for me to get to, and I'm really hoping that I can get myself a skein or two of Christmas in Valaris, because I really want that yarn. But anyway, that's my Calan. I'm not very far from the end. You have to do 8 repeats plus another 3 rows, and then or rounds, and then you go back to the ribbing. So I believe I've just started my 8th repeat, and then I'll do those extra 3 rounds and onto the ribbing. So this should be a finished object by next week. Next weekend, I was going to say, by next week's podcast. So stay tuned. And I also forgot to mention, I'm actually using my incredibly lovely Home Row Fibre Co yarn bowls for these projects. So my Calan is in this one, which is Craft Magic. I absolutely love these bags. I was so thrilled to finally be able to get my hands on some. She's actually not going to be making them exactly like this anymore. So I had to get my hands on the original yarn bowls. She's making a new alternative that has far less wastage. It has virtually no wastage on the fabric for her new row bags. These are the old portable yarn bowls. So this one is called Craft Magic, and it's like got knitting needles and very sort of esoteric with feathers and moons and stars on it. And the other one that I got was a knitting ram can't remember what this was called, but it's got her logo on this side, Home Row Fibre Co. So yeah, I really love these bags. They're so well made. There's like the lining is like cotton sateen. It's really lovely. So if you like these, I think Rochelle still has some in her shop. I'm not endorsed, I'm just a fan. Yeah, I think she still has some of these on discount in her shop. So I would suggest that you run and get some before they are no more. Of course, like I said, she's going to be still making her new design, the row bag, which is very similar to those. It just has far less fabric waste. So yes, the only other things I've been working on is some weaving. So I will just grab that now and I can show you. Okay, this one looks a little bit ratty because it's still got ends on it. So there you go. This is that bag fabric that I have had going forever. I looked today on Ravelry and this has been on the loom since March, the 10th of March, I think it was. And I finally found, I think I may have discussed on the podcast, I know I said something on Instagram about having lost the ball of yarn that I was using to make this fabric. Well, I found it. So I was able to finally get this off the loom. And I have used, the colour has bled a little bit on my weft fibres, which was a little bit of a bummer because my warp thread was hedgehog fibres in her heyday colourway, I believe, and it was white with fluoro kind of speckles, and now it's kind of a little bit blue because the weft fibre has, or the weft yarn has leaked some blue. The weft yarn is Unwind Yarn Company in her Black Magic Woman colourway, and these are both singles yarns. And after doing this, I don't think I'm going to want to weave too much with singles yarn anymore. I find that it fluffs up a lot because of the, you probably can't really tell without me zooming in, because of the rigid heddle constantly going backwards and forwards, it kind of abrades the yarn, and in a singles yarn, obviously it's softly spun. There's not a lot of twist to it. It was just ripping the fibres off the edge of my warp threads every time I moved my heddle. So I do still have quite a bit of warp left on the loom from this in the heyday. I may pick another colour, I think, to go backwards and to do my warp threads with a different colour. Because perhaps so I don't get that leakage like I did in this one. But overall, I'm really happy with it. It's going to make a lovely project bag. There's just like bits of fluff everywhere on this. I'll probably need to go over it with like a lint shaver before I sew with it. But yeah, I did a pick up stick pattern in it. I don't know that you can see that. Maybe I'll pop in a photo so that you can see it up close. But yes, I did a pick up stick pattern. I can't think of literally the words I just said. I can't think of the words. It's a nice long piece of fabric, so it should make a good size project bag. So I've still got ends hanging out of it. It's not been entirely finished. It's had a soak and a bit of an agitate, and I just laid it flat to dry and straightened up the edges somewhat. So it's just about ready. It just needs a little bit of interfacing, and then I can make that into a bag. So I haven't been making project bags for the last little while, but I think maybe on my holidays I might whip some up and have those in my shop for the first update of 2020. And the last thing I've been working on is, if you see my Vlogmas, it won't be out probably until tomorrow. I got myself a sample at 25 centimeter wide loom, and this is because my other loom is, what is it in inches? It's a 60-inch loom, I think. It's quite large. Or it could be 24-inch, 60-centimeter loom. I think that's probably closer. So my other loom is really big, and I can only really use it at the dining table. So I kind of wanted something that I could just do small bits of fabric while I'm watching television and things like that. So I grabbed myself in Green Living. I'm going to say the word again. They have still got their 15% off deal going, so I was able to grab this plus the reeds that I needed, the extra reeds, because it comes with a 7.5 dent reed. Because I do a lot in fingering and I have some lace that I like to weave with too, I got the 10 dent and the 12.5 dent. So I've got the 10 dent in here now, and that's because I'm working with fingering weight yarn. So basically, yeah, I got this yesterday. I gave it a nice wax, so it's all sealed, all good. It made the wood come up really lovely when I sealed it. Like, you can kind of see that gloss, and it brought the colour out of the wood. Like when I first got it, it all looked just white. But now since I've put the wax on it, it's got this lovely warm, especially this side, this lovely warm colour to the wood. And I warped it up yesterday, which I of course forgot to film for Vlogmas, so you won't be able to see me warping it. But this is some Cola Girl Collective in her spirit, I think she calls it. I don't know if she still calls it that, because this is quite deep stash. This is from probably 2017, I think. I've had it for quite a while. I bought it just before Christmas, so yeah, it's probably just on 2 years old. And it is a silver stellina base. And I've got 3 colorways here. I've got, I believe it's One Night in Paris, which is just like a navy blue. I've got this pink, and it's kind of a green to it, I think, and it's called High Tea. And then my weft threads are a colorway called Blue Jeans Work Boots. So yeah, I initially bought these for a three skein shawl, but then I just could never settle on a pattern for it. And because it had been marinating in my stash for so long and I really just wanted to use it, I decided to pull it out and get it on the loom. So I've pretty much used the entire width of my heddle there. As you can see, I probably could have done one extra thread, which I probably should have done, because these were supposed to be even stripes except for the middle one. The middle one was always going to be bigger, but the blue ones on the side and the pink ones in, just inside, were all supposed to be the same. Somehow I've ended up with them all being quite different. I think on this end, these are the widths that they were supposed to be. It was supposed to be 18 threads, so 9, what do you call it? When you warp, like you warp to a peg, so you bring through a loop, so it's technically 2 threads, so it should have been 9 loops on each of these outside ones, and then just the rest in the blue in the middle. And for some reason I've ended up with 10, and then I've got 12, and then I've got my center, and then I've got 9 and 9. So it's like, what did I do? I don't know what I did. I thought I was counting correctly, but apparently not. So the stripes are a bit asymmetrical, but it's not that obvious. I'm probably going to make a scarf out of this. I think I'm just going to keep going with my weft until I get to the end of my warp, and then just cut it, tie some tassels onto it, and possibly give it as a gift for Christmas. I don't know to whom yet, but that's probably going to be my plan. So this is some weaving that I've been doing since yesterday, and yeah, I'm really enjoying working on this little loom. It's tiny, but it's mighty. And just as I finish, Granger has decided to come in and start clipping all over the laminate flooring. So it's probably a good cue for me to say goodbye. I don't think anything much is happening. I don't really have anything exciting to talk about. I've just been hanging out, knitting, watching some TV, which is something that I haven't really done for a while. I mean, we only have streaming TV. I don't have any kind of free to air or anything like that. So yeah, I've just been watching some really old unsolved mysteries on Amazon, and I am hanging out for Lehrer documentary series that I watched the first season of on YouTube. That's why I got Amazon Prime, was to see the second season of Lehrer before everybody else, but turns out it's not available in Australia on Amazon Prime, which kind of really sucks, because I paid $6.99 for the month to get it, and not on there. So anyway, it does come up on YouTube on the 13th, so that's tomorrow/Saturday, because it's an American thing, so it'll probably be up on Saturday, so I'll be able to watch it then. So yeah, it was really only the sake of 10 days that I was going to be seeing it ahead of it being on YouTube. So 10 days wait, $6.95. It's probably going to be cancelled after the first month anyway, because we don't really find much to watch on Amazon Prime. But anyway, I've been watching mostly Unsolved Mysteries on there, which is pretty fun. It's very old and very dated, but it is fun to watch. But yes, okay, I think I will leave it there. I think I will blow out my candle because I'm being overwhelmed by the smell of cinnamon buns. And yes, I will get back to vlogging, I suppose. I don't have much else to do today except to vlog and hang out. So thank you for watching. If you would like to leave any comments or questions, please do that down below in the comments area. You can find me where I am everywhere. I've got an email address, website address, Instagram, Facebook, Ravelry, all of that is down in the description box. So thank you so much for hanging out with me, and happy knitting, happy crafting, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.